Hello, 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 everybody. It's me, it's your girl, Sia Knight, and welcome to what is actually a new show that I have decided that I'm going to embark upon. I have a good friend, Sherlonda Sharp, who has been my friend for a long time, more than 25 years. I want to say, I don't even know if Clinton was in office, but so we have had so many fun, interesting, wonderful conversations over the years. And I always told her, I said, we should do a show. We should just get together and we should do, and then, the internet happened. And there's no excuse why we shouldn't share kind of our musings with the world. So I see that she is here, and I'm going to see if the internet will let me be great and invite my favorite comedian, Sherlonda Sharp, on. It says go live, and I'm pressing the button. So we will see if I can see my favorite comedian, Sherlonda Sharp, join. I waved for her. I waved at her. Hello, Sherlonda. And now it says that you are oh, there she is. Hey,
here I am, your favorite comedian.
You are. What you talking about, Willis?
Great lighting, by the way. That's fair. You'll have to teach me a few lessons. I have to put the light in front of me or something like that. Great to see you.
Good to see you as well. I was a little bit before you, I think you joined, I talked about the fact that we have been friends for years.
Yes.
I want to say maybe Clinton was in office. I don't know. It was before our current administration for sure. And that
it's when the current administration was in rap songs and a Democrat, I think.
No.
That's how long ago. That's when people wanted to stay Trump tight.
Yes.
Yes.
As opposed to saying, oh, I don't say that no more.
Yeah.
they do not use that expression.
It's gone. Yes, it's very dated now. It's
right.
Back when there were bag cell phones. Remember those?
Oh boy. I remember coveting those and saying, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I want. And then you're like, it's like $500 a month to get a cell phone that's probably about the size of this desk here. And it's ridiculous, but it's things have changed a lot. If you think about when we were in college, I remember getting on the internet was like a big deal, and it was so fun. I was like, oh, we can get on the internet, and then it only takes 5 hours to log in to AOL, and it was just so amazing. And now, boy, don't let something take longer than a second to load on my phone. I'm ready to call customer service. I'm like, what is this? This is trash.
The patience has definitely, that level has changed, indeed.
I mean, and we're part of that generation, though, that we remember life before cell phones. So I can't imagine. I know these youngsters, I know we sound like old women, but these
I know, I was about to say, we're not that old. Just to...
We remember life before cell phones.
I do remember life before cell. I remember wall phones. I remember busy tones. I remember answering machines. Not voicemail, kids. Not voicemail, answering machines.
Do you remember when your grandparents first got called waiting? Well, my granddaddy was like, oh, hold the line. It was like a whole thing when they heard that beep on their line. It wasn't just, oh, okay, hold on. It was like, wait a minute. Stop everything. And then hold the line. He had to go and press that button on that phone. There was no wireless phones or cordless phones in that house. That cord had been stretched for 25 years.
You had a cord that could go out to the mailbox. My grandparents never got call waiting because that was for the devil. So you just called and hope you got through. And
who's trying to get in contact with you? Nobody need to contact me that bad. So that was for the devil. Great.
Yeah. So they never got around to it. Later on in the early 2000s, they did get a cordless phone, which I love because my grandmother used to keep it. It was older ladies wore house dresses.
She
And she
kept it
used
in her
to keep
pocket.
it in the pocket of the house dress, yet it still took 8 rings for her to get the phone. I don't know how you can wear a phone and it still take 8 rings to get to it, but love you, Grandma, miss you. My grandma did that.
Well, she was watching Donahue. What you gonna do? You got
It was not, she was watching Law and Order and Matlock.
Oh boy. I like that Andy Griffin. You know he's Matlock now. So yes, that's something. I love those memes that are on Facebook. They're like, if you remember this, and it was a picture. You guys were Young and the Restless, weren't you?
Yes, we
Or
were a
CBS.
CBS family. Yes,
It was Victor Newman.
that's another with soap operas. You usually stuck with a network, and everyone in your family watched. It was like a law.
Yes.
Everyone in your family watched that network. So we were a CBS network family. Yes.
Yeah, you better not waver from that.
No.
And that was the day when you called the show by the lead character. So, yeah, JJ's on. And so I don't know why they bothered to title shows back in those days. Well, then the only thing they got right was Jefferson's, because they just gave up. They're like, just call it Jefferson. The black folks just gonna call it Jefferson. All right. So that was back in the day, absolutely. But I remember the meme that says, if you know who these people are, you stay with your grandma too much. And it was Victor Newman and Nikki. So I was like,
you stayed with your grandma, you stayed with an aunt, and now what's so funny to me is all the things. Wait, yeah, Harry, I'm back. All the things that kids have to prep them for school.
Oh,
we
yeah.
had like 1 hour of the Electric Company and maybe a little bit of Reading Rainbow, and the rest was the Guiding Light.
Yes.
And I say we both have master's degrees, so people who are worried about their kids staying home, it'll work out just fine.
Yeah, because I could have told you the whole backstory between Rick Weber and Monica Quartermain. And I'm like, why do I remember this? It is so fresh in my mind on General Hospital.
Okay, I was like, what are you talking about?
We were one of those families that changed the channel. So here's the deal. I know, breaking news. Yes, so we would start with Young and the Restless. We watched 30 minutes of that. Okay, so 12:30 to 1 o'clock. Then 1 o'clock, we turned to ABC.
Oh.
It was all, I know scandalous, but that's how we did it. And then I told you many stories about my grandfather. Now, he was a One Life to Live man. But of course, Asa Buchanan. He didn't say, I'm going to watch One Life to Live. He was like, I got to see Asa. Because Asa was one of those patriarchs that didn't take any mess and all of that stuff. So, yeah, those were the good days. Those are the grandparents who were born and during segregation. So
no, absolutely. Absolutely. They remember the Depression. Yes, it's actually one of my fond memories because my father worked overnight. And so back when there used to be manufacturing in America, manufacturing. Yeah, remember that when things were made in the U.S. And so he worked from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. So he would get up around 3, and he and I would watch The Guiding Light together. So yes.
Yes, that's it. That was one thing. Men, women, everybody was watching. It wasn't soap operas. What did we call it, Sherlonda?
The stories.
The stories. Ding, 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 ding. You had to watch the stories.
You got to watch my stories.
Right. And nowadays, I don't even know. I see occasionally General Hospitals on. I'm like, oh, that stuff still comes on. It's shocking. It's jarring. And it was such a strong part of our childhood. And then I guess when we get into college, you still come in and out because you could pick up a storyline 7 years later.
They wrote it intentionally to be that way, so you can dip in and out. Yes, it's crafty writing.
Absolutely. Yes. So, yeah. Well, shout out to the soap opera writers of yesteryear who are looking at reality TV and hating their lives right now. I was like, wait, we used to know how to write storylines, and now,
I know.
Now nothing.
They used to say, who's going to watch a show with a judge on it? And America said, we'll watch 10 of them. We'll watch
In a
judge
row.
shows with no actual judges. No,
Absolutely.
no law degree. No, I just, gonna decide this case.
Oh boy. And you know who ushered that in though? It was Judge Wapner. Remember the People's Court?
I do remember the People's Court.
Judge Wapner and Rusty.
Dun, 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 dun. It's great when we had theme music. Dun, 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 dun.
And they use the same music now, and my daughter was like, they are so dramatic. I'm like, oh, come on. I know you're not talking your generation. But because the guy, he is a very dramatic announcer. And this is funny. I think it's a throwback to a shout out to their past and them being the pioneers. So
yes,
that was good. And Judge Judy, it might be time for her to put down the gavel.
If I made Judge Judy money, I would never retire. I would be working. They would be about to embalm me. I'm like, one more, before you embalm me, let me get one more season in. So,
I mean,
yeah.
And I have watched Judge Judy as long as she's been on, like 20 years or whatever. And she was short-tempered and rude in the very beginning, right? When she was a young woman in her 50s. But now, oh my gosh. And she will even tell you it's like, I'm old. It was like, and I'm thinking, who is really volunteering to go on Judge Judy? I'm going, no. If I think I have a strong case, I might go on People's Court. Judge Million looks like she's probably pretty fair. But if you got an attitude and your case isn't tight, boy, don't go to Judge Judy or Judge Mathis. He's another one. Slapped upside the head verbally. No.
I think that people who go on Judge Judy or Judge Mathis are those same people who would approach someone out of their league at a bar. They're like, of course they can have a ketchup stained shirt on and smell like salted ham. And they'll just be like, hey, girl, how you doing? That's the type
Yeah.
who would go on. They're like, of course I'm going to win.
Yes.
Of course.
And the question I'd want to ask, it's like, okay, so have you ever seen the show before? Because that first of all, you need what we call facts. It's like, I just think he owed me the money. Well, no. And it's just, it's terrible to see those people torn apart. However, very entertaining, and which is why it's part of my daily routine in my DVR menu. So it's something. So, but I think it might be time for Judge Judy to hang her robe up. The gavel, it just, the last couple of seasons, I'm like, ooh, it's kind of like Joe Biden. You're like, well, no one's going to really say anything, but
yes.
Okay, somebody prop Joe up and get us over the finish line until January 21st. That's all we need. That's all we need.
That's all we need.
Him and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Let's put the prayers. Everybody, get the oil, everything, because those people have to make it. So there are a couple of topics that I kind of talked to you about, like some things that we could discuss. We can, talk about them. We can not talk about them. We can go off the cuff. This is anything we want to do, as long as we're both having fun and laughing like we usually do without a potential audience, right?
Yes.
So the first thing is, the question is about Ellen.
Oh.
Now, for anybody who's been under a rock or smoking rock, Ellen DeGeneres is now accused of being, instead of being the nicest woman on the planet, of being mean and having a toxic environment in the workplace. And even today, which was interesting, the DJ, the first DJ that used to come out, he has come out. I remember
Tony.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, y'all, that's right. And it was interesting because you're like, no, Tony. I haven't watched the show consistently for years. It's been on since 2005, 2004, something like that.
I think it's season 17 or 18 this coming fall. So
right.
Yes.
But I haven't watched it in a long, long time, but I do remember the DJ, and I was like, that's the little British man. And now he's like, oh yeah, that's right. That it was a toxic environment. I stand with my colleagues. I'm like, dang, E2 Tony, he has turned on Ellen. And Ellen, I think, is one of the people that the Black community, if I may, and I don't know, you check me on this if I'm not wrong, if I'm wrong, that the Black community kind of embraced Ellen because she's an outsider. Now, I'm not talking about your mama and your aunts and them because they're not as inclusive. My family is like, I don't know about that Ellen, not them. So let's get all the baby boomers out of our lives. But the folks who are our age and younger are like, oh, Ellen's cool. Yeah, she's a white lady. She likes the kindness, the niceness, and she dance. She gets down and she defends Black people. There was a time when she stood behind Kanye on a couple of occasions. She had him on the show when he was wilding. And then Kevin Hart, remember, he took a lot of flack, and she didn't have to do that. But the question is, what now? What do you think? Do you think that people are correct about Ellen being mean, or are they making it up?
Well, I think that Ellen is on one of her islands right now thinking, man, I should have stopped at season 15.
Mm-hmm.
Because this has definitely put a damper on what seemed to be an untouchable brand.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's hard to speculate because we don't work there. We know that television, I think that business seems to be cutthroat and tough. And but even with that, from what the people are reporting, it seems like, is it really, is it a separation? Is it Ellen herself saying to the people that she's kind of left in charge, do these things? Is it those people? Because when you have a very successful show, that can go to certain people's heads. Mm-hmm. I once heard that some people with authority, they grow, and other people swell. Oh. And so it seems like there may have been one too many people who, upon the success of that show, instead of growing, swelled up, became pufferfish.
Oh, okay.
And started to attack people. I think the biggest thing is hard to speculate. It's just terribly disappointing if it is true, and there's no reason not to believe. Besides, even she herself has said, I'm looking into it, I'm going to fix it. It comes. So that in and of itself says something is not right.
Right.
And I'm going to dig in and find out what's gone. Because otherwise the statement would have been, we unequivocally.
Yes.
I want someone to equivocally do something one time. Someone equivocally do something, but anyway, no. They would say the statement would have been something: we unequivocally deny these false allegations, and we have always treated our employees impeccably. And that's not what it said. It was like, so here's the thing: I'm good from now on. So. Yeah, I think that's the big feeling, is feeling disappointed, especially because there is this feeling that you get from her. She had a lot of hip hop artists on. Mm-hmm. She has talked about tough topics. And of course, this is America. We love people who give things away.
Yes.
And she gave lots of stuff away. She had 12 whole days of giving stuff away. They just had, I don't know what kind of deal they had with the Roku TV people and with Shutterfly. Also, Shutterfly, where does Shutterfly make their money? I'm confused. Shutterfly just gives $100,000 to people all the time, and I'm just wondering how that is. Like, are they a front for El Chapo? I want to know how Shutterfly is funded. Please, somebody look that up and let me know where they get their funding from. But that's beside the story. So I think that's a bigger feeling, is that something that made you feel light
Yeah.
something that made you a tough day or one of your days off, because she comes on too early for a lot of people to watch, but on one of your days off, you can kind of see what's happening and playing the games. And so it's more of a darn, another bad thing happened in 2020. This
Oh,
got uncovered.
2020 is trash. It's straight trash. And I feel confident. I know it's August and maybe I can win the lottery and I'll feel differently or something. But I mean, we're both healthy, so we'll acknowledge that, because you don't want
Yes.
to, look, you don't want to test God. Okay, God, you can't say, things can't get any worse. No, I understand. I'm not saying that, but I would say, good gracious, this has been terrible. But yeah, 2020 and Ellen, I think it's interesting because she may have been able to have the reputation of being so nice because she probably had those henchmen around her, henchmen and women, because she might say, look now, I don't feel like talking to nobody. I don't feel like seeing anybody. So y'all go ahead. If you see anybody, tell them don't look me in the face. And it could have been her just dancing, and then they're like, no, you can't talk to Ellen. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why she could have that persona for so long, because by design she could have people who are not really nice.
That is, and I think about this in difference where you work. And again, it's thinking about, I, I think the what is happening, because even if that were the case, I think people in show business know how the business works. And so I say that to say, did we have to go as far to say you can't look at her in the face? Because if she had have the right people, they could be henchmen who look like the biggest service people ever. So it's like, so Ellen's really excited to see you today. She actually wants to talk to you just live on the air because she wants it to be electric. We found that this has been an excellent way. Like, that's what you would have. That's a.
Well, I guess it.
Well, sometimes I say, is it a hiring issue or a training issue when it comes down to the people and the people in charge? But I'm hoping from here that at least the people who have left, I'm hoping that works for them, so
Right.
that so that they have moved on and moved on to bigger, maybe not, but moved on to other things. So at the very least, I hope it was a door opener for them.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know. There's talk that her show won't come back. So I don't know. Well, first of all, whose show is coming back? Don't know that.
Well,
2020 garbage. So, but secondly, Warner Brothers is like, well, we're investigating, and Ellen might just say, you know what, just take the plug. I'm done. I've got enough Emmys. I got enough money. Me and Portia, we're going to get on this yacht. That's what we're doing. So who knows?
yes, that's a big question mark. But they're investigating. We don't know what the contracts say. It is a ratings winner, and people have short memories, so we'll have to see.
We'll have to see. But speaking of talk show hosts, where has Wendy Williams been?
Wendy is coming back in September. I just heard this. I think it's
Okay.
the 22nd is when the show is coming back. Now,
Okay.
and I do believe she's going to be back in the studio with a socially distanced audience, I think. So it just sort of, I think, what Jimmy Fallon is doing and what Conan is doing with the 9 people in the audience or something like that. So.
Because she seemed to me like the most depressed person to be at home to do a show when the quarantine first started. And no, it threw everyone for a loop. And then people were like, well, maybe you can do the show from home. I was like, ooh, I don't know if my Miss Wendy's gonna make it because she looks so sad. But I hope I am glad to hear that the show is coming back. I hope she
Yes.
that 2020, because 2019 was pretty bad for her too. So I hope that this whole season ends up being better for her, because this whole the divorce and the it's been a big mess. But staying on the topic of talk show hosts, I want to say a big shout out, a rest in peace to my main man,
Oh, oh, Regis.
Regis
Regis.
Philbin, which again,
Regis.
he is on the list of people, white people that black people like for some reason. And I don't know why. And maybe I'm wrong about that, but
I was like, really? I'm not sure. I would put Regis in this category. First of all, Regis was, let's just give it up for his groundbreaking work in tooth capping, because Regis got his teeth fixed it in like
yes.
19, it was before there were, I don't know if it was an experiment, I don't know if he went to Germany, I don't know what he did, but Regis had the good teeth
Yes,
when
he
Reagan
did.
was in the White House. And but that's when you thought that was people's teeth. And
Mhm.
now everybody has teeth like that, and you realize, oh, that's not, they capped them and they did stuff to it. So, but I think Regis really needs to, I think he's an unsung hero
Of the tooth world.
in dental
Him and the
makeover.
Osmonds, they should go in the Tooth Hall of Fame.
The Teeth Hall of Fame. They should. They really should.
And I think that he also, when he when he started, around the time he started Millionaire, I think he had another full set. Because we were like, Regis, his teeth are so brilliant.
Yes.
I don't know if that's the final answer, but this is
He,
the final time I can watch that brightness. So
you didn't know you could
very
get LED teeth. The teams were trying to get the Regis. He was amazing. You're like,
yes.
turn down the TV. You're right. That was a bright smile. Like, what kind of toothpaste is that, Regis?
It's called just pure sandpaper. He has like a drill that he uses. I don't know what happened, but he's not using anything now. Rest in peace, Regis. But he's one of the people, and maybe it was just me. I was a poor girl growing up in the hood, watching Regis and Kathy Lee. This is back when everybody thought they were married, and so and growing up and watching him, thinking that he's some type of like their uncle or something. Now he would be one if somebody had come up with a tell-all book about Regis. Now that I would pay to listen to or to see. So he is kind of like on that same level as Ellen. Like if you found out that Regis was really like a racist or something, that would be like, what? That'd be shocking. So we have heard nothing of that.
I think if I found out Regis was racist, I would be like, oh, he was 88.
Well,
We have a different, you have a thing with Regis that I don't. So yeah.
Maybe it's just me and Regis.
It's the same reason you're liking Regis is the same reason you like Prairie Home Companion. It's just something that's it's special and unique to you.
Yes, it's so Americana. So, but I guess rest in peace, Regis. And it's he's gone to that big talk show in the sky.
You're
so
freezing
now,
a little bit.
let's move on.
I'm not sure if you're speaking.
We'll continue.
People might be on the internet, probably.
Oh, how dare those do that? So we'll talk about a couple more topics, and then we see how it goes. We've been here for like 30 minutes already. Isn't that crazy?
It goes fast.
It goes a little faster when you get the Moscato going too.
Uh-huh.
Grown folk conversation. So the next topic I want to talk about is Dr. Dre and his divorce. His wife filed for divorce a few days ago. And First of all, can you imagine what is that? Are you okay?
Huh?
Oh, okay. So he filed for divorce. She filed for divorce, and we know that
Yeah,
Dr.
I'm
Dre,
good.
Dr. Dre has not been the best in the relationship business. I think he went to the Ike Turner School of Counsel. Years is amazing. And now she says, hey, you know that prenup? It was signed under duress. It was signed under duress.
Well, okay, when was it? Was it a post-nup, or was this before they actually got married all those 24 years ago?
It was shortly before the wedding.
Shortly before the wedding.
And she said
Okay, and so she married, she signed it under duress, but still went on.
Yep, still
Okay.
went on, married him. And then she says,
Trying to set up a timeline before someone asks me. I just want to know, when did this happen? So it happened before she said, okay, they've been together almost a quarter of a century.
mm-hmm.
And now she's saying, hey, look.
She said, nah. And then, no, here's what she said. She said that after they got married, they had conversations where he said, you know, I feel really bad for forcing you to sign this prenup. And he took the paper and he ripped it up. There were several copies of the prenup that he ripped up and said, hey, you know what? And she said, hey, I took that as no prenup. So what you think?
Did she actually see that it was the prenup, or was he just tearing up like a piece of junk mail?
I don't know. Some
like, did it say this is the prenup, and did she see her signature, and then did she see the ripping uppage of the prenup?
I don't know.
Unless you saw it for yourself, I need to see it, and then I need the pieces back, because even if it was the real prenup, I would want the pieces. You know, paper can be taken back together, and so I would want that so I could throw it in the fire. So
fire, absolutely,
it's gone for good.
So okay, you still with me? Are you still with me? Okay.
Yes, I think their attorneys are about to make a lot of money.
Yeah, I can see you now. Now you're
I am
unfrozen.
Can you see me? And well, she will very likely get more than what's in that prenup.
I don't know. Someone said that she's an attorney. I hadn't looked that up.
Oh wow. And I say that she's likely to get more now that Suge is in jail, because who else is gonna do the shakedown?
Yes.
If Suge was not in jail, I would say that she might want to like buy a small home in a little cottage in Kansas and just have a beautiful life. But locked up.
I think they're going to show during the proceedings the Michelle A movie. Did you see that?
I did not.
You've got to see it. Yeah, that's our next assignment. You got to see that, and then because anybody who's seen that, I'm sorry, he does not look good in that movie. It's terrible. First of all, shout out to Michelle A for surviving, because it went from abuse from Dr. Dre to abuse from Suge Knight, and these are not two little men. And then it was a big mess. But So she just should show this Exhibit A and just put the tape in. That's all she should do.
Exhibit A.
And then they'll say, click, click, case closed. So, and it's also interesting because she says he's worth $1 billion. He said, oh no, I'm only worth 800 million. So,
Oh, how are they scraping by?
I don't know. I don't know. But also something that was good that I saw, was it on HBO? It was a documentary by Jimmy Iovine. He's the guy who co-founded Beats by Dre.
Okay.
And he's a big music guy. He's been around since like the 70s or whatever. And it was a very interesting documentary. And I'm not doing a good job because I have no idea where I saw it, if it was HBO or Netflix. But look up Jimmy Iovine documentary and you'll see it. And because Dre has a very prominent part in that documentary. And again, that's, she's going to show this. That's going to be Exhibit B because it's going to show how much money he's made from these Beats by Dre and all of this other stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that case. Sad when any relationship ends. But then, who knows? I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's not sad that it ended, but
it might be the best thing to happen to her and maybe to the both of them.
Right. Well, that's so optimistic.
Yeah.
Very nice. So is there anything else you want to chat about before we wrap this up, Sherlonda, while our internet connections are really still stable right now?
Still harmonious. No, right now I think I'm good. This has been a nice first run, I believe. I'll think a little bit more about future talks.
I know.
Sure.
No problem. This was good. And I didn't want you to think too much about the topics because for those of you who don't know Sherlonda Sharp, first of all, make sure you start to follow her because she is an amazing comedian. What you need to know about Sherlonda in her personal life is that even though she's quick-witted on stage, I'm choking on it. Even though she's quick-witted on stage, she is a processor. You understand me? You're not going to just ask Sherlonda, hey, Sherlonda, blah, blah, blah. And then she answers real quick. No, she's going to go within and process that thing. So you need those types of people in your lives because those are the people who are like help to bail you out of jail when you've done something. So that's very good. And if I need you to wire me the money, Sherlonda, I know who to go to. So thank you so much for agreeing to join me, Sherlonda. I know I kind of asked you at the last minute to kind of join me and to have one of our private conversations in public, but I thought this is too fun for us to keep to ourselves. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for inviting me on. I really do look forward to doing this again. This was very fun, which I needed that push, so I appreciate it.
Wonderful. Well, good. Don't encourage me because I'll be pushing you to do some other stuff too. So thank you very much.
All right.
I'll be thinking about it for a long time. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, stay savvy. Bye.
Bye.